Well, Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Tasha and Russell, they both love reading books. Well, what do you do when you share some
Welcome to
love?
the
Well, you start
112th
a
episode
club,
of
you
the
start a
ABC
club,
Pod,
an
the
adult
Adult
book
Book
club,
Club
an
with
adult
Taja and
book
Russell. I am Russell.
club,
She is
and a
Taja.
podcast.
Hey, and welcome back, everybody, to the podcast where we drink and we read things. And on this episode, we read The Sun Down Motel by Simone St. James. But before we get to that, it has been 2 weeks, Taja. What has been going on in your life?
So many Turkish dramas. I am up to date on the main one that hooked me. Um, there's a new episode coming out on Monday. I'm very excited about it. Which means I've watched 48 episodes. Um, and then I watched a whole entire show. It was very different vibe, more like the average. Like it was a 15-minute episode and there were only 10 of them, so it felt very like, Netflix bingey. Like
Yeah,
not too weird. And now I'm on to a different one that Angie also recommended that's like Turkish ER.
nice.
And I also started Turkish on Duolingo, as you suspected I would do.
Mhm.
It's, as Angie has said, not the best way to learn. I expected, because I do Spanish on Duolingo, and I've taken Spanish in school and stuff. So when I started doing it, it like had me do a test, and it placed me, where my knowledge was. With Turkish, I was like, I don't know anything about anything. Start me from the beginning. And you know what it didn't do? Tell me what the alphabet is. Like I don't know. I had to just figure it out. It helps that I've like heard it spoken, but
Yeah.
like seeing it and whatnot, like I don't, you just threw me right in there, Duo. Um, so that was annoying. But yeah, I'm learning slowly. It's really an interesting language, and I just realized my computer wasn't plugged in and it's giving me a warning. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'll keep up with it because it's not really the ideal way. Um, But so far, so good, I guess. And probably other things have happened, but that's like my hyperfixation right now.
It'll be interesting at Dragon Con. You guys can talk right in front of all of us in your Turkish. We'll never know.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about that. I don't have faith in my own skills for that. Angie probably could talk to me, and I'd be like, I knew two words you just said. When we text, which we text every day now, we have been sprinkling in some Turkish words.
Wow,
Yeah,
it is the cutest. Uh,
I'm not sad about it.
no, it shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. For me, my 2 weeks started with that blizzard we got. I don't know how you guys are further up. So how much did you get?
I'd say like about a foot.
Yeah, we ended up with 17 inches, which
Oh.
was good for what they're projecting. At one point, they're
Mm.
saying over 2 feet, which, yeah, I'd still be out there. So
Mm-hmm.
that took about 10 hours for me to clean up.
Oh.
Yeah, between the driveway and the hockey rink. I mean, to be fair, the hockey rink is my own CrossFit.
But still, if you want to use
Yeah,
the rink.
yeah, you can't let that stuff sit. So
No.
yeah, that was like 2 days worth of just
Oh,
fun, we'll call it. But thankfully, we haven't gotten any snow since then. We are supposed to get a little today, but whatever. It's still winter, but thanks to
we're
that,
supposed to get extreme cold.
yes. Yeah, we can't seem to break out of that. I actually just talked to my parents yesterday, and down in Florida, it was 21 degrees when they woke up the other morning.
My
So,
parents were just in Florida last week.
poor
And
time.
they were like, yeah, well, I mean, it was still warmer than here.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, they were like, we only got 2 beach days.
That sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, that bitter cold, which we should be thankful for, because without that, we would have gotten
You
that
wouldn't
three
have the rink
feet of
and
snow. And
yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't have gone ice skating, which was the other big thing. We finally had our tournament that I've talked about forever last weekend. Yeah, wearing the swag for Taja. I wanted to make sure people saw that I own other clothes and can look differently. We don't
So
record all these
Angie's cat
episodes
can
back to
recognize
back.
this.
Yeah. Not like Jeopardy doing 10 episodes a day. Yeah, so we went up to the tournament. It was a lot of fun as far as like we had a great group of guys. We ended up with 8 of us up there, and then one coach, Shavar, came up and coached us for a day,
Oh, that's so
which was
cute.
great. He's like, I need words. We're like, okay, forecheck. And so we like, whatever, dump the bucket. He'd be like, forecheck, forecheck, forecheck. And then like, we'd be on defense the whole time. He's like, what's the opposite? Back check, back check, back check. You gotta get back. And he'd be like, I need a change. Get out of here. So, a lot of encouragement. Unfortunately, like the teams we played wanted to take it way too seriously.
That's not cool.
Yeah, so we played 2 games Friday and 2 games Saturday. And the first game Friday, we should have relished more because the guys were a lot better than us, but like
Mm.
didn't try super hard. And that's what we were looking for. But
They were
instead, I was
having
like,
fun.
hey, we still got a chance to win. We need to be more aggressive. And it didn't matter. So we lost that one 11-7. And
Oh,
then
but you got some goals.
we
That's
did.
great.
We had good old young Joe with us, who was one of our ringers. Who he was 24, I think. He brought the average age down of the team to 35.
Pretty
Thank,
good.
thank you, young
Pretty
Joe.
good.
He had like 8 goals the first day, or 9 goals. Everyone else had one. So it was like Joe and
Nice.
everyone else.
The MVP.
Yeah. So then the second game, and like before every game, we go up to the team like, "Hey, we're not very good. We're just here to have fun. Like, if we do anything that pisses you off, let us know because we're not doing it on purpose." We have 3 rules on our team. The first rule is not to cause an injury to somebody else. The second one is to not injure ourselves. And the third one is the first rule is more important than the second. So injure yourself before you injure somebody else. So like we tell them that. We're like, hey, whatever. We're not very aggressive. We're not very good. Just be cool. That team was so fucking aggressive, man. Like, first of all, the first legit penalty that's ever been happened to me, the guy put his stick right between my legs, tripped me, like, oh yeah, it sucked. This wasn't their fault, but we both were going for the puck, both hit the puck. Thankfully, it hit my stick first, but it deflected off my stick, hit me right in the side of the face, like right above my teeth.
The
Thankfully.
puck did.
Yeah, because if it hit me in
Oh,
the teeth, I was worried I was going to chip something or other. So that
yeah.
sucked. They were like trying to hook one of our guys and just like, yeah,
How old are these guys? The teams you're playing against?
they're like all around our age-ish.
Okay. All right.
So
So
it's
they're
an
not
over,
like all super young or something.
yeah, it's an over 21 tournament, but we play in the worst division. Like this is supposed to be your beer leaguers that are like
But
getting
these guys are like Chads. So a whole bunch
yes,
of Chads.
plenty of Chads. So
Okay.
they beat us, I think, 11-6 or 12-6 or something like that. I don't remember. And then it's
Okay.
like, all right, whatever. We had a great night Friday night, a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes. Saturday, first game, we do the same spiel. Total fucking assholes. And on every team, there's a couple good guys, right? It's not all of them, but
Yeah.
that team had the worst guy, and he fucking took out Jay. Like skated down the ice like he was Connor McDavid. Went to stop fast at the end, didn't stop, slid right into Jay, took Jay out, took our net out. Jay landed first. The guy landed on top of Jay. So
Oh,
we're like, Sully and I were on the ice. So we skate over, like, dude, are you okay? Like, is everyone okay? But like, are you okay? Because we care more about you. You're our friend and teammate.
yeah.
Everyone's good. We're like, all right, let's just chill out. Let's all chill out. Like 2 minutes later, the guy goes to do the same thing. And like, thankfully, this time doesn't take Jay out. And it's like, did you not learn anything? And at the point,
No.
they were winning 14-4. So it
So
wasn't like it
why
was,
are you even trying so
yeah,
hard, my dudes?
what are you doing? So I had a bit of a break, and like this is something I've talked about with like my traveling. Sometimes I get overwhelmed when we've been gone for a while, and I need to like stop and realize like, look, you're not going to be back here. I mean, I hope to be back there, but it's
Enjoy
like
the moment.
you've built up to this all year. Like, don't let a bad attitude ruin this for you. So like we had a couple hours between games, so I was like trying to pull myself out of this attitude, and Sully noticed it, was talking to me, and I told him this whole spiel. And like, I just need a good game, dude. Like, obviously, we're not gonna win. I don't care about that. Like,
But
we're
like
just
a
fun. I want to
yeah,
have fun.
yeah.
So this last team, they were called America's Fallen Heroes, and they were part of a charity that helps veterans who have been injured or
Nice.
families of veterans. And we were talking to him before, same thing. It's like, okay, we'll see how it goes. We're down 5-0 after 3 minutes, and the guy oh yeah. And the guy was like, all right, you got to pass 3 times before you can shoot on these guys. And it was like, okay, they get it. And like everything was just because they were
They
playing
get
for
it.
a playoff spot, but they like recognized we weren't like every team says they suck, and then they're liars. And I think we're the only team that's like, hey, we suck. And these
And
guys are like,
actually
hey, they
sucks.
actually do suck. So like right before halftime, 'cause it's like two 15-minute periods. I went up to him like, hey, is there anybody on your team that hasn't gotten a goal yet? Because we got a couple guys. So if there's something, you're looking for, let us know. We can easily make it happen. And they had this guy. He's like, yeah, the guy in the blue helmet. We want him to get a hat trick. And I was like, okay, I said a goal, but sure, three shouldn't be hard either. So we did, and they all like threw like they had a little cheering section, so they're all throwing their hats on the rink, and the guy was super excited about it.
Nice.
But I was like, yeah, we got some really bad guys. They couldn't figure out who was the bad guy we were trying to like get a goal for, so they kept giving us breakaways, and we would fucking lose the puck, fall down,
Oh no.
whatever. So
I couldn't monetize the
yeah, they ended up letting me get a hat trick, which I was fine with.
Ooh.
It's like, hey, I'm really good. But honestly, the last one, literally, like the other day when I was at the rink with the goalie, guy didn't even move. I just had to like nudge the puck around him.
Yay.
But that was like, it's like when you go golfing and you hit that one shot, you're like, okay, I want to go back. Like that game was that for us. And like afterwards, we stopped keeping score. I was skating
Yeah.
off with the guy. I was like, I don't know how many goals you need, but you can tell him whatever you want. He's like, oh, what'd you guys have? Like 3, 4. I'm like, sir, I know for a fact we had 5. Okay. So if you want 16, 17, 18, I don't give a shit. But we got 5. So you're giving us 5. No, they were cool though. They were actually cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so no, overall it was a good time. We won no games the next day. We always go back for the playoffs because we have to
It's
rent the
fun to
house
watch, yeah.
X amount of days anyway. So we're standing next to the fire, and this is where we meet the guy who runs it every year. He comes and
Oh
talks.
yeah.
And he comes out, he's like, oh, my Spofford Knights. Nice 0-4 this weekend, huh? We're like, huh, you guessed it. He goes, no, I entered the scores, and I laughed the whole time. I'm like, you
Oh,
motherfucker. You
harsh.
guessed. He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll be back next year. Hope for the same cold, hope for better results. Who knows? But
That's
I can't tell you like how much we laughed. It's just such like a different grouping of people that we get together because there were some new guys this year that Sully brought from the fire department and everything. So
You think they'll
uh,
come back next year, those
we're
guys?
hopeful. They said they would.
Nice.
We'll see if they're lying or not. But I think everyone had a good time. There was, like I said, and like we like after the games, they have parties and stuff. We're like, oh, we'll just go back to the house. We played games. We played like those guys are huge into Super Smash Brothers, which is a game for
I know it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we had our GameCube, and they've been thinking about buying a GameCube. So like, oh, can we do Super Smash? We're like, yeah, and
Yeah.
that turned into Mario Kart and Strikers and just making fun of
Awesome.
each other and
That's fun.
way too many drinks. So yeah, overall great weekends. Just great for the soul. Get me through the rest of this winter.
That's great. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, so definitely didn't post any of that to any of the social medias, but this is your reminder to follow us there. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget that, folks, at Adult Book Club 21. That is Adult Book Club, all one word, and then the number 21. You can see our beautiful faces and our changed outfits as we show you. We have more than one sweatshirt in our I don't know, closet,
Closets?
wardrobe. I don't know. Somebody can't go off script. Back to the lines. All right. And now we get back to the book, which once again was The Sun Down Motel by Simone St. James. The Sun Down Motel is the 7th novel published by St. James and was originally released in 2020. She says she got into writing because she wanted to read ghost stories that were creepy, but not gory, and that had some romance. When she couldn't find what she was looking for, she started writing it herself. She has had 2 more books published since the release of The Sun Down Motel, the most recent being Murder Road, which came out in March 2025. So quite a bit of her work out there, if this sounds interesting to you. And on that note, Tasha, if you want to read us the jacket, we will get started.
All right. Something hasn't been right at the roadside Sundown Motel for a very long time, and Carly Kark is about to find out why in this chilling new novel from USA Today best-selling and award-winning author of The Broken Girls. Upstate New York, 1982. Viv Delaney wants to move to New York City, and to help pay for it, she takes a job as the night clerk at the Sundown Motel in Fell, New York. But something isn't right at the motel, something haunting and scary. Upstate New York, 2017. Carly Kirk has never been able to let go of the story of her Aunt Viv, who mysteriously disappeared from the sundown before she was born. Carly decides to move to Fell and visit the motel, where she quickly learns that nothing has changed since 1982, and she soon finds herself ensnared in the same mysteries that claimed her aunt.
Nice. So as that pointed out, we have two different point of views, two different time periods, but the same setting. So we're going to start with our main characters and do it in order of appearance. It's also chronological, so that means we start with Viv. I was wondering what you thought as we got to know our first clerk of the Sundown.
Um, Viv seemed like lonely. Um, and what we learn of her seems like really at odds with the what her family seems to think of her as,
Yeah.
which I found really strange that like I don't want to say she was like kicked out, but she kind of wasn't made to feel very welcome at home. Um, and for reason like the reasoning seemed weird when we like learn the choices she makes and like what kind of attitude she has. Um, so I found that to be a little strange. So it almost felt like we didn't really get to know her all that well. Because of that, it was like not conflicting information, but I was like, who do I, I'm learning a little bit from Viv herself, or I guess like from the third person narrative that we
Yeah.
get from of her. And then some of that is her past in Illinois, and it doesn't seem to match up. And that
It
was weird.
it seemed like she had the immediate that response every kid has at some point where it's like, I'm gonna move out and make it on my own, and like
Yeah.
regretted it immediately, but didn't know how to turn around. And was
Yeah.
like just so stuck in her, so stubborn in her own way, and feeling so unwelcomed by her mother that she was
Hmm.
like, well, I really need to show her. And then like as everything went wrong to the point where she's even knows that this person that picked her up hitchhiking is taking her the wrong way away from
Yeah.
the city. Like,
Choices.
what more do you need to be like, hey, go home? And like, it was interesting reading 1982, obviously a much different time, much sketchier, much, just think about how connected we are now compared to then.
Yeah.
But so many options or so many opportunities for her to just kind of like cut bait and go home, and she just didn't. And like
Didn't.
it never felt like this is what she wanted. Like she wanted to be a
No.
model, she wanted to be an actress, and instead she gets stuck in Fell. And we kind of get that like from everyone we talk to in Fell in both eras. They're like, well, Fell just calls to certain people and they get stuck here. And it's like, yeah, but just leave.
Go away. Well, I did think that her desire to like go to New York City and be an actress and stuff wasn't necessarily like a real desire. It was more just like, I don't want to be here in Illinois and I don't really know what else to do. And this seems like the thing that I could do.
Yeah,
I mean, she'd done a little bit of modeling and whatnot, so it's not like she couldn't have. It just didn't seem like she had the passion, because I feel like if she had, she would have tried a little harder to get out of Fell.
for sure. And like especially when she buys that car. Like she
Yeah,
does save up money for a little while. She buys a car, you
you
can
could go somewhere else,
go anywhere.
or
And
at
like
least get a new job.
yeah. And as the sundown becomes creepier and creepier, and we'll talk about that when we talk about setting, like I just don't understand. I don't know. I get her interest is peaked, but the big part for me, I think, with both of them was like their naivete just kept
Mm,
coming out. And like even though we see in the beginning there, again with that hitch with the ride she hitches and she
yeah,
realizes that this guy's sketchy as fuck,
yeah,
she like knows to get out of the car, which was great of her. But I feel like as everything else is happening around her, she just like she doesn't know how to not keep digging deeper rather than
yes,
seeing that she has a second option, which is to leave.
right, right, right. It's just gonna continue making my bed here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it. So,
yeah.
yeah, it was a little, that's kind of the stuff that frustrates me when it just seems like everything's piling up around you. And like, I get that we're stubborn people. I've been that stubborn person. But just feels like at some point you gotta know that
You
like,
make a different choice.
I don't know,
Yeah.
do something else. So, But if once wasn't enough, we have the same scenario happen again
Mhm.
with Carly in 2017 as she comes to Fell to figure out what happened to her aunt and then gets stuck there as well for a while. What stood out to you about her? Any differences or similarities with Viv, etc.?
I mean, I think her like reason for being in Fell was a little bit more clear cut, obviously, than Viv's because she was like on a mission to find out information about her aunt. And she didn't necessarily, I mean, yeah, she left school, but it's not like I mean, it's not like she left her family in the same way. You know, it wasn't because her family was not accepting her or whatever. So I think she has like a more um comfortable space at home or what, you know what I'm saying? Like a comfortable environment.
Yeah. I
But
good.
no, you go.
It just felt like again a little forced. I don't know, like never been in this position, so maybe I would react this way too, right? But she loses her mother, her mother dies, she still has her brother. They're like at odds, right? Because her brother's a little older. He doesn't really understand her. I think she's having trouble coping with her mother's death. So she's like
Yeah.
latching on to something.
Yep.
And what she latches onto is her mother's sister, her aunt's disappearance. And
A
she thinks, I don't
mystery.
know, maybe if I can solve that, that'll get me closer to mom, or like, I don't know, maybe I can feel something. Maybe, I guess I've never experienced that again, so it felt a little flimsy to me. Again, especially once you get to Fell and you look around, you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah, I mean, Fell as the actual setting, totally understandable to be like, what are we doing hanging out here still? But I do feel like with her like attitude toward the the task, I agree. Like it made sense. Well, I think that it was to maybe get closer to her mom, but also like she's a true crime girly. Like that's kind
Yeah,
of her jam. So
yeah.
it fit with her aesthetic. I wrote down that she was a kooky loner square, and that's so relatable for me. Um, so yeah,
Nice.
I can get down on that. I mean, I agree that like strange choices to like stick around,
Yeah.
but the desire to like find answers, I get.
Yeah, and that's something she shares with Viv, where it's happening while Viv's there, but then Carly, as she's investigating Viv's disappearance, she finds out about these other murders that have happened
Mhm.
in and around Fell, around that same time period, the late 70s, early 80s, and we see Viv kind of piecing it together because she's living through it as we hear her talk to the people she meets, and they're like, well, or suddenly your mother's like, don't go out, too late, or
Mhm.
don't go in that park, or whatever. Don't get in the car with strangers. And for Carly, she is just trying to make those connections again, finding out what happened to her. So, like, I can understand. It's like, I don't know, like a treasure hunt or something, where like you pull
Yeah.
back that first layer and you're like, oh my God, there's so much more here. And you're right, they're both basically like the true crime girlies, as they for Viv especially, I think she thinks nobody else is going to look into this, and so I'm trying to help myself and others.
Mhm.
And for Carly, it's more like I need to dig as deep as possible because Viv's, as we learned, her like after 4 days they stop looking for her, and basically that's all they ever learned. So for her to actually
And
find out more, she needs to dig deeper.
now that you say that, I'm reminded of, I think that it was like a one-liner kind of thing where it was basically like she'd done as much research as she could from Illinois, but because Fell's so antiquated, all of their like news stuff is still on like microfiche
Yeah,
and they're so I understand the idea of like, okay, well, I'm not going to get answers from a distance. I have to be there. And then that's just a can of worms because the place is crazy.
yeah. And it just felt weird that how it fell into place. It's like a little too serendipitous as she goes to the sundown and they need a night clerk. Okay, I'm gonna work the same
Yeah,
shift as my aunt
those
Viv.
bows.
Oh, I want to go like look at the apartment Viv lived in so I can like figure it out more. Oh, hey,
Oh, a roommate?
are you here for the room? Are you the roommate coming to
Yeah.
stop by? Oh yeah, I guess so. What else
It
could
was
I find?
it was like when you play Tetris and it just perfectly fits.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like a little, I don't know, too on the nose. And I think that
Yeah.
is kind of going to be my reoccurring theme for this podcast was it was a little too on the nose as we saw these stories 35 years apart really
Yeah.
line up in a lot of ways. But the big way they line up is the setting. As we said, they both take place in Fell, New York at the Sundown Motel mostly. I mean, around town as well, but that's our main point. I was wondering what your takeaways were as we dug into the story and the two timelines of this setting.
I mean, the book cover pretty much says it. Like, nothing's really changed in this town since 1982, specifically that motel. Um, so obviously the parallels were aplenty.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that was kind of just the biggest standout setting wise was that, that much time has gone by and there's really not much a difference between the happenings, the places, the people, kind of the vibe.
Yeah.
Which I suppose for like a small town that kind of makes some sense, but 2017 and 1982, technologically speaking, are quite different.
Yeah. And like the town did grow up in some places, like the old
Yeah.
diner's now a Denny's and
Right.
whatever, the theater is now closed. But the fact that Viv's apartment is the same exact, and like the fact that they made a point of saying that, where it's like, oh, it looks like I'm stepping back in history.
Yeah,
Every time they
did that.
describe the sundown, and they're like, as I walked to the L branch and looked out, it's like literally you're just copy and pasting it. Like, and I get you're doing it for, I don't
A
know,
purpose.
there's a reason, right? Like it hasn't changed, like we're saying, but it was still just like, I feel like I'm stuck in it now, which was a
Yeah.
little bit frustrating. And like, and it works in a way, right, as we see how parallel their investigations are, and like it helps
Mhm.
out with Carly to see the whole picture and everything. But as she is getting more accustomed to the sundown, and she starts getting the visitations from the ghosts, and even those are kind of, well, yeah, they're very similar as well. I was just like, okay, it felt a little
Rush, rinse, and repeat.
yeah,
Like,
I was gonna say like Twilight Zone-y, but yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Where it's just like we're doing the same thing. We just literally have a different lead, and like I guess it was a little different as Carly had Nick there to
Yeah.
kind of whatever. But even as she's following the leads, she ends up meeting the people
The
that
same
Viv worked
people.
with, right? And like that's a little bit of that, like I don't know, it's like a TV thing where it's like they were kids, now they're adults. They're
Right.
adults, but now they're old women. Cool,
Right.
but it just felt like. I get your point, but also like I wish there was something, I don't know, more here. It just I think it was just too much bows. Like one thing with the hotel being the same, but then going and being like, also this is the same, and also her apartment's the same, and like I want to know how she felt sitting in this living room with the banana phone. It's like too
Yeah, having the hotel be the same makes sense because to me that's like the freaky deaky epicenter of
mm,
things. And so like to have that be a carbon copy or like to not have changed makes sense. But you're right, like the apartment thing was a extra bows, extra super bows.
yeah. The one thing that stood out to me though was the ghost, as I think we touched on before we started
Hmm.
recording. I thought they added quite a bit. And then reading afterwards how she wanted to make it spooky but not gory. I think that's the perfect
It did
fit of
it.
what she
Yeah.
was doing. Um,
Yep.
because as we first meet them, they're not like, well, Betty's the main one. And we
They're
learned that
not
Betty,
malevolent. Like,
yeah, but she kind of feels like when you first meet her, right? She's like her eyes are kind of like fiery or something like that. She's
sure,
yelling at her to like
sure.
run, go, like all this stuff. So like you could see that as being like a frightening experience, but
Yeah.
it is her trying to be like protective and be like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. Right. It's not like horror movie style, like
Yeah.
gruesome stuff happening, but it's creepy. That
Yeah.
definitely was achieved.
And then doing like having the little boy just kind of like swinging his legs, being it's almost like play with me. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
too much. uh,
And like the smoking
yeah.
ghost, like that was a neat way to kind of introduce things too, because it was like she's feeling, I could feel her creepy,
Yeah.
her like her being creeped out by it. Both
Yeah.
Viv and
And having it deal with more than just your sense of sight, like having that where it was just the
yes.
smell of the cigarettes and like how
Yes.
powerful it became, it would be like, that like a visitation is coming. So Yeah, I think she did a lot of great work when it came to like the horror side of, or whatever,
Yeah.
all that, the haunting side of things.
Yeah.
It just again, we saw it similar interactions with both of them as they're experiencing the ghost, and like that's again, I'm just gonna keep coming back to it. There was just a little bit of that
Repetitive. Yeah.
repetitive nature, yeah. Um, so on that note, we are going to move on to our get to know your podcaster question. And I don't know the answer to this. I know your new lifestyle does not, this is not the way you live, but back in the
New.
day, think back, Taja, before you became Bouge Queen. So the Sundown Motel is the same dump in 2017 as it is in 1982. It is the dumpiest motel you could ever picture. I was wondering if you've ever stayed in a questionable motel where you check in and maybe like, yeah, it shits off, or maybe it's haunted, or you have a good story. Tell me about the roadside attractions you've stayed in.
Okay, so I don't have any like creepy, like haunting style motel things, but there were two. So I've stayed at two like sort of stereotypical roadside motel type things. One was with a couple of friends, and it was like one of those places that felt very much like it was by the hour.
Hmm.
Like people were getting freaky deaky because there was a hot tub in the room, like in the carpeted room. So
Yeah.
that just vibe was weird. Um,
Did you get in the hot tub?
I mean, without water, yeah. Like in the hot tub. No, it was like a jacuzzi type thing, not
Gotcha,
like a
gotcha,
water all the time hot tub.
gotcha.
Um, and then Barry and his younger brother and I stayed in a motel in like the Keene area called the Golden Eagle. Um, One time when Barry and I were in college, Justin came to visit, and we stayed there. And all I remember of it was called the Golden Eagle. It had like, those questionable bedspreads
Oh
that's
yeah.
like kind of plasticky. And we had pizza. That's it. So I think everything was hunky dory in terms of ghosts, but
Never heard of the Golden Eagle. Interesting.
probably got leveled.
Hey, yeah,
It
that's
was not very, you
we do
know.
have we have quite a few of those sketchy ass places in and around. I
Hmm.
mean, there's one across like the other side of the highway from me that they
Hmm.
now made into apartments. Actually, there's two. Um,
They
yeah,
often seem like they get made into apartments. That's
yeah,
kind
because
of a
nobody's
trend.
stopping there anymore. Nobody. So
Yeah.
when I used to go back and forth with Sully from California, like he is the king of the roadside motel. Like
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
he would drive out of his way to try to find, the cheaper one. And it's always the ones that are advertising on the billboard, right? Like, oh,
Oh,
20
yeah.
bucks a night. It's like, I think we can do better. So we stayed at the Roadaway Inn, I think it was called, in
Okay.
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay.
It was $17 a night.
What a deal.
What a deal. And so we went out that night. And we met some locals at a bar and we were talking to them and they're like, oh, you guys seem like really nice guys. Like, are you staying in town? I'm like, yeah, we're over at the Roadaway or
They were
whatever.
like,
And they're like, are you for real? And so I was like, yeah, it was like $17 for the night. We couldn't believe it. And they're like, yeah, there's a reason for that. And I'm like, okay, so like what should we do? And they're
what's
like,
the
well,
reason?
stay somewhere else. And we're like, oh, well, I mean, we already have the hotel room. They go, well, then sleep on the floor, because that is known for drug deals and drive-bys.
Oh boy.
Yep. So we stayed. We slept on the floor. I was like,
I mean, honestly, places like that now in my adult mind, I'm like, bed bugs is my first thought.
probably, yeah, absolutely. That's fair. I mean, I remember one time we were in like a real small town, and I don't think there are any bars open or anything. It was weird, but I remember it was like Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, and the Patriots are playing. So we went to like the Ramada Inn or something like that
Oh, good
because
old
they
Ramada.
they had a bar, and we were gonna like just find a roadaway afterwards, and
Yeah.
I just got us a room there. Like during halftime, I went and like got us a room. And so he was like, "Oh, why'd you fucking do that?" I'm like, "Because now we don't have to leave, and also like
Yeah.
now we don't have to sleep on the floor. We'll be
That
right
makes more
back."
sense.
Yeah, it's just so funny the difference of our travels together. And well, our travels together and then like traveling with Amanda, because I would never, ever in my life try anything like
Oh,
that.
I was like, Amanda would never let you do that.
No. I was gonna say Sully does the same, but
Rightfully so.
dude, when him and his lady travel together, sometimes he's like, "Well, we can just sleep in the back of the truck." Back when he had like the
She's
cat,
down.
huh?
She's down for
Oh,
that.
she is a champion in many ways. Yeah,
Wow, I'm impressed.
yeah. I would not. Although to be
No, my
fair,
old lady body is gonna be like, I'm not sleeping in a fucking truck.
he makes like a nice little pad for you back there. That's
I'm
where
sure it's lovely, but like,
when we went to the Grand Canyon, I stayed in the back of his truck. It was a moment. It's
he
also the
made a
Grand
nice
Canyon,
little
so it
nest.
was fucking warm out. It was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do that now. Anyway, that's where I'm like,
Seasonality.
that's where I've got to be like, dude, we're adults now. Like we can
Yeah,
we can pay. Let's have like two less beers and just get a hotel room. It's much,
yeah.
not the same price these days. Anyway, so let us know in the comments about the freakiest places you've ever stayed in. I will say I've never had an experience with ghosts or anything like that in hotels.
Me
I know
either.
like Amanda, when they go down to Salem and our friend
Oh yeah.
stay in like the most haunted place, but I don't think they've ever actually
They've never
experienced.
had any encounters.
Yeah, so who knows,
Interesting.
folks? Let us know in the comments where you stay that's freaky, and let us know the cheapest hotel room you've ever bought.
Yeah.
See if you can beat $17 a night. Uh,
That's gonna be tough in this
I mean, to
economy.
be fair, actually, we stayed in Vegas one time. We stayed at the Hooters Motel. It was,
That's a thing.
oh yeah, yeah, it was a hotel and casino. It was
I
eight.
don't know why I'm surprised.
It
I
was
shouldn't be surprised.
$8 for the night, middle of the week, and the cleaning fee was $15. So the room ended up being $23. But
Well, they're probably like we have, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm
Oh.
talking full price here, people. What'd you pay? $17. Try to beat it. Anyway, now let's move back to the book. We got to get into spoilers. Before we do that, we have your song. It goes like this. This is the part that we're going into spoilers. If you don't know the book, get out! Because this is the part that we're going into spoilers. It's time to learn how these two timelines come together and what our story's all about in spoilers.
Nice.
Spoilers. Both women realize that it is a serial killer who has murdered the women in and around Fell for 5 years. As Viv focuses on a traveling salesman that gives her a creepy vibe when he stays at the motel, Carly tries to uncover what happened leading up to Viv's disappearance. Viv is convinced that the salesman Simon Hess is the killer and begins following him almost daily. She sees him take interest in a girl named Tracy from a neighboring town and tries to warn her school and parents to look after her. They fail, and Tracy is murdered. 2 days later, Simon Hess checks into the Sun Down, and Viv knows as the ghosts become restless that this will end one way or the other tonight. Dun dun dun. After making pictures of some negatives she got from Marnie, an old photographer from Fell, Carly and her friend Nick and Heather find an abandoned barn that was in one of them. Inside, they discover an old car covered with a tarp with a body in the trunk. Carly is overwhelmed, thinking it is her Aunt Viv, only to learn that the body is a man's, later identified as Simon Hess. Flashing back to Viv, on the night she disappears, we see her confront Simon, and when the ghosts of the sundown shut off the lights, she stabs him in the chest. As he dies, he confesses to the murders she knows about and learns there are others as well, but he won't give her any details. She stabs him again in the neck and kills him. Marnie shows up at the sundown and helps Viv move the body, but Alma Trent, the overnight female police officer, shows up as they have his body half in the trunk. Realizing that Hess was the killer, but Viv would be found guilty for murder regardless, the three decide to hide the body and have Viv disappear. Alma makes sure the cops don't get any leads on either, and eventually the search for Viv stops without learning anything. In her time, Carly is confronted by Callum, who was helping her research Viv's disappearance in the library. We learn he was also looking into his grandfather's disappearance, which happened around the same time. Callum believes Carly knows what happened to Simon Hess and follows her back to the sundown. They struggle, but Nick is there to help, and eventually the two go running off into the woods after each other. A stranger comes to Carly's aid and takes her to a local diner where she reveals herself to be Carly's Aunt Viv. Bum, bum, bum. Viv ran away with nothing but a fistful of cash and spent a few years away from Fell before returning under the new name Christine Fawcett. She lived her entire life as this new person and never reached out to her original family again. When Carly came poking around, it seemed like it was time to come back into the light. The two return to the Sundown, where Callum has died mysteriously and Nick is being taken in for questioning. When he is released a few hours later, Viv admits to who she is and that she killed Simon Hess. She is arrested but doesn't mind because her cancer has returned, and one way or the other, she doesn't have much time left. The book ends with Viv's fate still uncertain, but Carly now living in Fell and dating Nick as she figures out what she wants to do with her life. Also loses her virginity in the last line, so shout out her.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Gotta happen sometime, or whatever
Well,
they
you gotta
say.
like sneak that romance in.
You
Gotta
know,
put the bow on that too.
that's a fair amount of romance for me. I will take it all day.
A one-liner.
And they boned. After their 10th date, folks, that's how you do it.
Yeah, it wasn't immediate. That's
Yeah.
true.
Thank you,
Your favorite.
but Jesus. So, both of our characters get help in their investigations from locals. For Viv, it is Marnie and Alma, and for Carly, it is Nick and Heather. Which of these secondaries did you like the most?
Um, it was tough for me to pick one that I like the most,
That's fine. We
honestly.
can go over all of them too.
Okay.
Your show too. Do
Because
whatever.
I kind of like them all.
Yeah.
So I thought that there were some parallels between the two time periods. Like Marnie and Heather kind of gave me similar vibes. Like they were more like comrade in arms, sidekicky, like I'm gonna help you out kind of people. And then Nick and Alma were kind of more the like, not necessarily, well, Alma was an authority figure, but like they were kind of more security, like
Fair.
not like running security, but like they were security for her. She felt secure with them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or
First
they
person
both
you
felt
call.
secure. Yeah. Um, so I think that was just an interesting way to do it, to give each Carly and Viv two people that kind of were giving different things, bringing different things to the table.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too, if you think about it, because Marnie is the one that drives Viv around and gives her like the spot by spot tour, and Heather's the one that does that for Viv, kind of share, or for
For
Carly, kind
Carly,
of giving
yeah.
her all the information she's gathered
Yep.
on all these
Like
disappearing.
fell people where they
Yeah,
were like sharing fell. Yeah.
yeah. For me, the one that I thought that stood out the most to me was Alma Trent.
I love her.
I loved how she had like zero fucks to give. She knew nobody wanted her on the police force. She knew that they gave her the night shift to just waiting for her to quit. She
And she
like
didn't fucking quit.
didn't fucking care how she talked to, I think it was when she was talking to Carly. Like, this was, I did appreciate that Marnie and Alma were still around. So, like, Carly got to talk to them,
Yes.
and like how Alma was as forthcoming as she would be, which was like still very protective of Viv. But like, even afterwards, we learned from Viv that, like, because I don't know, she did something, Alma did something to Carly, and she's like, that's actually her being like, hey, you're on the right track. Like, you kind of impressed her with that between the
Yeah.
two. But I appreciated that, like she was, I think, telling Carly, she's like, yeah, it was, tough being a woman back then because, either I dated around and I was a slut, or I didn't date anybody and I was a lesbian. And it's like,
Yeah.
no matter what, they wouldn't leave me
There's no
alone. I just
winning.
wanted to
Yeah.
like be a cop. So that's what I did for 30 years, like a fucking badass. Uh,
Yeah. I also will say I just appreciated that most of the like secondary cast was women and there was just like one dude.
yeah.
I
One
appreciated that.
one dude with plenty of problems and maybe a sleeping disorder.
Yes, most assuredly a sleeping
Yeah.
disorder.
I will say, and then Marnie for her part, like I liked how like her way of protecting Viv was just like, I don't even know her. Like I'll give you
Yep,
these like clues, but like I won't actually talk to you about it.
yep,
Maybe she was afraid she'd give something away. Who knows? I mean, it's
yeah,
crazy that spoilers that Viv was just there the whole time, right? They're like, oh yeah, I'm talking to your niece today, probably, right? Like calling each other and shit.
I've been here the whole time.
Nice. Nice. Take that, Sam Reich.
Yeah.
As far as Heather and Nick, I was convinced one of them was a ghost. I honestly
Okay,
thought Heather
so
was a ghost.
Nick for sure, I also thought was a ghost. Heather, I was less certain about because like there were no ghosts outside of the sundown.
Right. Fair. I was doing the Sixth Sense thing though, where I was
Yeah.
like, I am waiting for somebody to like interact with these two to tell me
Yep.
they are actually there. And when they both did, I was like, fuck, okay. But they were just like, it was so weird, like with Heather specifically, how she talked about how like she was always so covered up and always seemed so cold and like was okay. Now she traded her poncho for like a bigger coat and all this stuff. And I was like, what? What are you trying to feed me here? Like, tell me something.
Like Daria.
Yeah. She's like, this is just how I describe people. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
I definitely agree. Certainly about Nick. There were many times where I was like, what the fuck is this guy even doing in this hotel? There's no way he's not dead
and
already.
yeah, and this would be a bit of a reoccurring theme too now, and spoilers for me is like I felt like he was a loose end that didn't make sense. Like not Nick in general, but why did you
His
give us
backstory.
yeah, why did you give us his backstory?
Well, and
Like,
like there were like little bits that were given, like even Alma brings something up about the whole like maybe he wasn't in really in his room, like
yeah,
all these things where I was like, okay, this it felt like the rifle on the mantle that we never actually went back to, and I was
yeah.
like, wait a minute, what does this not actually matter? Is his I don't know, is it somehow connected to Simon Hess and all those things? And it wasn't at all,
I
and there
was
was no explanation about the dad.
yeah. I honestly then I was like, he must have some connection to Simon Hess. Like, there's got to be a reason for this. Like, murder is in his family or
It's
something.
his blood.
But yeah,
But
so for
no.
those who didn't read the book, like Nick's father just came home one day. He like legally purchased a gun, came home one day and killed Nick's
Got
brother.
Nick's brother.
And Nick was supposedly in the bedroom upstairs, and he
He
jumped
was
out the
only
window.
like what, like 14 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, teenager somewhere in high school, I think. And like
Yeah.
so the whole town, he was just like branded from that point on. It's like, okay, obviously this is going to come back around, and it didn't.
Well, and so I wondered a little bit about that too, because like they made it a point to say that his dad was like a well-respected lawyer and like all this stuff. So it was like, was there some connection? Like, did he have some breakdown because of a case that he had? Like, I don't know. That was definitely a weird, like, gaping hole in.
Did he like stay at the sundown and like a ghost convinced him to do it or something? Like that's
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that was, I mean, like, what's the connection? And then he even says this. Nick's like, I don't know why I can sleep here. Like,
yeah.
there's no rhyme or reason to that.
Yeah.
And it's like I kept waiting for there to be a rhyme or a reason for it. Like
Yeah.
that never gets explained. Yeah, there were a couple of like loose end kind of things that did bug me in retrospect.
Any like and then going back to like the comparisons between the two timelines, like when Viv disappears, her roommate Jenny had like left to go stay with her parents for like four
Yes.
days, and that's why they didn't
Yes.
know right away when she disappeared. Heather does the same thing.
I was like, "Oh no."
Heather goes into a dark hole, and she's like, I gotta get out for a couple days, and like and see, but still like no, it didn't matter. I mean, she wasn't there, but it was just
I think it was just writing her out of the script, out
like
of
I
the
don't need to go back to this character. She'll come back later.
Yeah, she'll come back later. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. There was just I don't know, man, and like the whole like Fell community college that only people at Fell go to because it's like
That was weird too. I
Latin.
forgot about that.
It's just a lot of
And it's
pieces.
like a weird like classical education and it's like
Yeah.
what is this doing in Fell, New York? And
Well, it's
like
well that makes it so Carly could fit in as a college student. They just thought she was
how
going
convenient. But couldn't they have just made it like a normal liberal arts college? Like why does it have to be like this weird, obscure,
because it's spooky.
spookier?
Yeah. No, it was wild, man. It was
I
yeah. Yeah,
I did
dissecting it. It was just like, why though?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. I'm gonna circle back though to Heather. I did appreciate her and Carly's like fast friendship
Yeah.
because they definitely that was one of the differences between her and Viv was that like Viv was very like not alone on purpose, but she like didn't really like put herself out there. And not that Carly does either necessarily. She's not like a social butterfly, but like to have found your a like a like person
Yeah.
so conveniently in your ensouled home.
Yeah, and like as you pointed out earlier, like Viv was so alone and going through all this, and like she does try to go to Alma for help, but
Right.
Alma is like held up by laws,
Yeah.
and she has a
Yeah.
hard enough time just being that woman cop in
Yeah.
1982. So she knows like I can't just bring this to my superiors because they'll probably throw me out too.
Right.
Um, and like Marnie is reluctant to help her because Marnie's like, yeah, I understand. Like, we're trying to protect women. We're young women too. But like, also, like, I want a man and I want a family. And like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be chasing ghost stories or like get fucking murdered.
Or that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did also appreciate, maybe I already said this, that like most of the characters are women and they're
Yes.
like strong and doing what they do, and I like that.
Yeah. No, it was nice. Nice to see. And especially being in both eras where they had to be stronger in one
Right.
compared to the other. But yeah.
Right.
So moving on, we kind of touched on this a little bit in the setting, but what did you think of the ghost story aspect as a whole as we get into it and we learn about who Betty is and kind of what all the hauntings at the Sundown mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think on the whole I liked it. I liked like what you were reading about how the author wanted something that was like spooky but not gruesome. I think she achieved that very well. I think that it added something fun is what I was gonna say, but that feels weird. It added something to the story and it made it more intriguing, basically. It added a different layer. Um, because it's just like otherwise it's kind of a run of the mill like who done it,
Yeah,
figuring stuff out, and this just kind of gave it an X-Filesy vibe. And yeah, I think there are definitely some like questionable choices in terms of what's the little boy doing there? Like, why are the ghosts haunting this place? Betty makes sense.
yeah,
Simon Hess makes sense, but he's not really haunting it. He's just kind of there sometimes. And like, it doesn't really, the lack of explanation was kind of okay because then I feel like it would have been too bogged down,
yeah.
and maybe less, intriguing because of you're like, I don't know what's going on. It's ghosts. I mean, they just do what they want. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because she's the one that starts it all. Obviously, she's like the big. Yeah, she not only starts like the hauntings, but she also is Simon Hess's first victim. Like we learned that he kills Betty because he always desired her and thought that she should be with him. And then he killed her and he dumped her at the construction site of the Sundown, which is why her ghost haunts here. And then realizing he could get away with it, like he kind of wanted to see if he could get away with it. And that becomes victim number two. And then he does. And so then it just feeds this. I too like a few nice points that we had. Like, if we just focused on Betty, I think it would be a lot different. Like, as we
Crisper.
said before, yeah, the smoking man having that scent come around and be like one of the warning signs that the ghosts were kind of coming out to play. Great. Maybe you need the little boy because his death closed down the pool indefinitely, and like maybe that like
And the
adds to
smoking
like
man probably wouldn't have had the heart attack if he hadn't had that stress.
if he hadn't seen it, yeah, like that just adds to like the rundownness of it.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like Betty, like that storyline was so strong. I appreciated that like she kind of takes over the hotel where she can control the lights, she can control the doors, and like it's her anger coming out.
I do wonder if like Betty is in control of the ghosts in this motel, and the two people who died on the premises are the only other two, well, I guess three. But she wouldn't want, I mean, like, maybe she lets them in, the boy and you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah,
like, whatever, they're cool.
you're fine. You can hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I did like how we went full circle with the random phone calls where it just be breathing.
Yeah, with the
And they thought,
breathing.
yeah, they thought that was like kids prank calling. And it turns out that's like Betty's way of communicating. I forget which one. Maybe Viv figures that out, I think.
I
Uh,
think so, because she talks to her at some point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I appreciated that came full circle. It's just more seeing like which threads were picked up and which ones.
Yeah.
I like how we learn the whole reason Simon Hess comes back to the hotel so often is like it's not great as Tasha's face shows you on YouTube. It's like because he's like this is his way of keeping her. He like does this purposefully to like call her ghost to him.
And so she's like haunted, like he sees her ghost too.
Yeah, and loves
Yeah.
him because he's a freak.
It's so gross. He's a
But
creep.
at least it makes sense for why he's staying at the hotel, why
Sure.
he's staying under a fake
Yes.
name when he lives in town and
Yes.
all that. Like I liked that there was a reasoning for that, and then how Betty would always get upset at his presence. Like
Yes.
there was a lot of cool things. Like again, I think the ghost side of it was what drew me the most to it. The thing that annoyed me again here is it was like we went through the same exact forensic science with both of them, where it was okay, Viv figures out who Betty is, through
Right.
pictures in the newspaper or
Right.
whatever, puts all the other girls together, and then we do the same exact thing with Carly, where she like figures out who Betty is and then goes from there. So it was a little frustrating living it twice, but again, at least with Betty specifically, we had that full circle moment. And the thing that upset me is like that little boy, as we see the confrontation where Carly is thrown into the pool and like gets hurt. The little boy is down in the pool with her. And like as she's climbing out, he's like, help me, help me. And it's like, how is she supposed to help you? Like that was just a weird
I also was like, is he trying to like keep her there? Like, is he trying to
stay with
be,
me.
yeah, I don't know. Like it did feel like a weird, is it just to like heighten the creepy factor of the moment of like, I don't know, that scene, not the pool specifically, but that like end bit with Callum and like, I don't know, man.
Well, let's get into it. So we had two endings to our story. The first one in 1982, and then the final one. So starting in 1982, what did you think of our climactic standoff between Viv and Simon Hess and the aftermath?
I mean, like, it was honestly pretty satisfying.
Yeah,
It was like extremely Bose. But Bose I wasn't overly sad about. I thought that there was this like nice little moment kind of where like Viv and Betty were like working together. Um, and I appreciated that.
yeah.
Um, but also I also appreciated the moment where Viv was sort of like, "Oh fuck. What do I do?"
Yeah.
And then she basically gets rescued by Marty and Alma, and they come up with like a pretty decent plan. Um, it was a satisfying moment, to have in 2017 when they find the car and Simon's body. And then, well, when you first learn that it's Simon's body, you're like, oh, damn, okay. And then they take you through to the actual murder of Simon and whatnot. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is like actually not a terrible plan. So I knew that it was Bose, but I wasn't sad about those Bose.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I said they were bows, but not eye roll, sickly perfect ones. Like they were, they weren't eye rolly. I was like, okay, it was
They
like a
weren't act.
known bow. It was
Yeah.
like we're out in the open. Everybody knows we're bows, but they were still just satisfying because I didn't like that guy.
So the biggest blow of all was the fact that we learn that the affair that is happening in Viv's time is just one big blackmail case. Remember, so like the affair that's happening that Viv's watching that Marnie is taking pictures of, we learn it's the woman and her husband are blackmailing the guy who's having the affair for money. And just so happens the night that all this goes down, he comes through with a fistful of cash to pay off the blackmailer.
That
And
was
she gets spooked as she drives by because she sees him beating up Viv basically because he thinks Viv's an accomplice to this. And then he's like, throws the money at her and is like, fuck all y'all. So that gives Viv the seed money to run away.
so when she put that in the drawer or whatever at the motel first, I was like, bitch, you keep that.
Yeah.
What do you do? Pocket that right
Yeah.
now. And then
Yeah.
of course she ended up taking it, but I was like, okay, yep.
So those were the bows where I was like, okay, you went above and beyond there. I will say when they found the car in the barn, I immediately was like, that's Simon Hess. Like, there's no way that's Viv. Like, why would
Yeah.
Marty keep that picture if that was Viv's body,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, 100%. I like didn't expect them to find like anybody, honestly.
Come on, Tasha, it's an old dilapidated barn with an old car in it. Of course there's a body.
Right? Yeah.
Especially if they were like, it smells like really bad. And then we opened the back seat and it smelled even
Okay,
worse.
that was the moment where I expected a body. Yes, that's
What's in
fair.
the trunk? Um, but yeah, I thought the whole murdering scene was well done. Like I like how Viv was prepared. She had gotten rid of her naivete. Like we saw the moment before as she was watching him go after Tracy, where she's like, I need some self-defense. And she's like, ask for mace. And the guy's like, well, here's a hunting knife. This is better than mace. So I was happy she was prepared for that. And then yeah,
Yep.
like you said, the assist from Betty of shutting off the lights and her knowing like literally fight or flight and flight's not going to
Yeah.
happen. So
Yeah.
let's do a stabbing. But then I appreciated how it felt realistic where it didn't kill him right away. And he was
Yes.
trying to use the last of his strength to like, I don't know, try to pull her or do something. Like it was very detailed in how he was like still trying to fight back while also realizing he was dying and like laugh, like getting that last serial killer laugh at you because there's, you think you know everything and there's so much you don't know. Psycho.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh, and then for Viv, her immediate reaction to call the police and then be like, nothing.
Oh no.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, but Alma and Marty being the real ones, being like, dude, yeah, you just fucking saved a whole bunch of people. So we're not going
Yeah.
to throw you under the bus for this because men
Yeah.
are dumb and men will take this dummy side.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did like that. Now we have our finale in 2017 with the resurgence of or the return of Viv, the fight with Callum and etc. What did you think of the actual ending of our story?
All right, so like Callum being in existence at all frustrated me.
Made no sense.
No sense. Like, um, maybe the whole serial killer thing just like skips a generation, but he was creepy as fuck. I mean, and I think she was getting that from
Yeah.
earlier on anyway, but the fact that I don't know what he wanted to do. Kill her? Like I don't understand Callum. I don't understand what the like point of him was, and I really didn't like how it was just like he goes off in the woods, Nick's chasing him, and I'm stuck in this pool, and then later, oh, Callum's dead.
Yeah. He had an aneurysm or something. It was mysterious. The
Right.
hotel.
Yeah, totally. That whole thing, I just was very like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, that, yeah, I did not love that. I felt like there was better ways to bring this around. Like I know you needed to like get Viv out in the open, but like I feel like she had already done that. Like she calls and tells her to basically like check the vending machine
The
for
vending
a little
machine.
notebook
Yeah.
and like she can learn the whole story that way. She could like come forward to Carly. Like she's still in fucking town. She could just come and talk to her. Yeah, the Callum thing
Right.
felt
Callum didn't feel necessary.
it felt so forced. And it felt like somebody was like, well, you just had this big climactic moment that wasn't your ending. So you kind of, you need to bring it back up, right? Like there's a lull here. And instead it was like, this just felt fucking left fieldish. And they try to play it off with Alma being like, oh, once Callum gets on something, he stays like very focused. You got to be careful about that boy. And it's like, ugh, come on. This is just rough.
Is lame. And then also like it felt as though there was maybe in like a rough draft some kind of um resurgence of information about Nick's past or something. Like why, I don't know. Like the whole Callum's just all of a sudden dead and like Nick isn't I mean yes, an aneurysm, but like I don't know.
Well, it's
I
the
guess it's
hotel. The
a
hotel
resurgence.
got him, of course. The Betty took out
Obviously.
the grandson of her killer or something. Yeah.
Just like yeah, that was yeah, I said forced in left field. And then it was just like resolved behind the scenes. That felt very like if I mean, I don't know, if anything, I was rooting for Betty and I would have loved to see a Betty getting revenge scene.
Yeah, right.
Like I'd have been down for that. Um I the whole Viv's been there the whole time was Bose, but not as bad as it would have been had she been a character that like
That we
as her new
met.
per yeah.
Yeah.
Like if she'd been involved in it directly with
Yeah.
Carly, I'd have been like, "Oh no."
Yeah. She was the librarian.
Right? Like been there the whole time, but like looking from a distance
Yeah.
felt more legit. So I was not like it was Bose, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
And like, and because Carly went through Marnie and Alma, like obviously
Yeah,
they were still in contact with her. So it
right.
wasn't like she was like watching the sundown.
Totally.
Suddenly
Yeah.
this girl who kind of looked like
Yeah.
her showed
She had
up.
insider information.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at one point she said that they had talked on the phone, right? Because she was like
Well,
pretending to be Marty.
she pretended to be Marnie and to tell her
Yeah.
that the notebook was in the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because she was like, oh, I tried to be an actress once, I was like,
Right. Right. And they did play that up quite a few times.
yeah,
I did appreciate though, this is totally not on topic, but how in Viv's timeline she like called to warn people and like wrote
yeah.
the letter and stuff. Like, power to you, lady.
Yeah. I liked the little note as Carly sees it as well, where she like finds out everything about Simon Hess and just wrote like that was easy.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I thought I didn't mind Viv's reappearance. Like I think we needed to have closure on her story. Uh,
Yeah.
the whole like, oh, she's got cancer, so she's just gonna admit anyway, felt like a fucking cop out.
Yes, it
Uh,
did.
like I think especially if they're like, hey, DNA has tied this guy to the murders. She could be
Right.
like, hey,
Like,
it was self-defense. I didn't think anyone would believe me. Also, he murdered a bunch of people. Like,
right. And like statute of limitation style, like, what are we
I don't
worried
know if there's
about?
a statute of limitations on murder,
I
Tasha.
know, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like, anyway, he was a
Yeah.
bad guy.
Yeah, I just feel like that she much easily could have gotten cleared. And what was it, like 3 months later or something like that? You're telling me like they hadn't cleared that up when like because Carly goes away and comes back, and then she has her 10th date with Nick or whatever. And it's like you're
Yeah.
telling me you hadn't been like they tied the DNA evidence of Simon Hess. So again, it's like really, really, she's still waiting to see what's gonna happen. Like
I
she's
mean, the justice system is slow.
That's true. Yeah, and you can't really rely on it. So there is
No.
that as well. Yeah, it felt we needed to tie it all together. But it definitely felt like our 1982 storyline finished so much stronger than our
It
27.
did.
Yeah.
It did, which makes sense, honestly, because that's like where the sort of real action was. Like the other stuff was like, we're just uncovering the mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because and the fact that like Simon Hess disappears and no more murder happens. I wonder who
Also,
it
like
was.
the wife, Simon's wife, must not have really like cared about him much. I mean, he was not a good guy, so
Yeah.
like I'm not surprised at all. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there were some like not loose ends, but things that I'm like, huh, we didn't wrap any of that up.
Yeah, just some stuff just hanging around.
Just hanging around.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
The only thing I wanted to touch on was the fact that this was also supposed to be a little bit of a romance, and I do think it delivered because I think Carly and Nick had like pretty good chemistry, but it wasn't like a highlighted thing all the time. You know, it felt very like B plot,
Yeah.
and it worked. It worked well for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how we didn't bog down both storylines with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, romance happens in the world, I guess. So it just doesn't need to happen to everybody. So I did appreciate the amount that it was there. And like I said, they boned after the 10th time. Although, same thing with Viv, where she like sleeps with the
The
guy,
druggy guy,
the drug
yeah.
drug dealer guy, and says the same thing. Well, a girl's got to lose it at some point, right? Okay, Viv. The other thing that just reminded me of like the aftermath where apparently the ghosts are appeased, where like they see the sundown in the daylight and it's like got a ton of water damage and mold and like all this other shit. And like I just assume it's because Betty has like let it go, or like they
Yeah,
kind of
she's like, I'm done.
yeah,
Yeah, so
and I
that's
get
like what it really looked like, but
yeah,
nobody saw what it really looked like. That's also my interpretation.
yeah,
I like,
fucking gross. Fuck
yes,
that.
very,
Yeah.
very
They're like,
gross.
oh, Nick, how'd you sleep in that? The fucking ceiling is almost touching you. There's so much water in it.
Yuck. He's like, it's my favorite
Oh,
way to sleep.
yeah. Blech. Anyway, so yeah, so on that note, we are going to move out of spoilers. Moving out of spoilers, we're not quite yet done with the book, as we have to give it our grade. We do this based on our D&D D20 scale. So 1 is bad, 20 is good. And then we add or subtract a character ability modifier skill or trait to the thing that we think best fits the book and why. We alternate every episode, and this time it is my turn to go first. For me, on the dice roll, I'm going to give this a 13. I think there's a lot of cool parts to this book. Um, as far as like tackling the story in general, the idea of this whodunit ghost story, trying to find out what happened to a past relative, like searching for purpose, all that stuff. I think it was a nice find for an author we didn't know anything about. And I liked that it kind of moved pretty quickly to counteract that. The repetitive nature of both investigations frustrated me a little bit. The naivete that was mirrored in both of our main characters that happened frustrated me a little bit. And just kind of as fast as it moved, it did bog down for me a little when we were rediscovering the same things as we learned about who the ghosts were and what happened to them. And we like took the tour in two different ways in two different timelines. So I took some points away for that. I will say I gave this a +1 for nature, for the nature of the ghosts,
Nice.
because I thought that was what really stood out and made this different from other horror stories. I'm not a gory guy either, so I did appreciate um, how we had that kind of thriller suspense idea. And again, even though like at times Betty could seem scary, you know that there's actually ulterior motives there. And while not all the ghosts made sense, as we've touched on quite a bit, like I appreciated how smelling the smoke, how the doors opening, like how there was different signals that shit was going down. And at different times, both our characters were smart enough when it was time to get the fuck out of there, although they still never left for good. Like, but at least they understood when Betty, especially, was super pissed. Maybe it was time to find another place to stand for a little while. So I liked that, and that's probably going to be what I take away from the book is just how she used the ghosts in a different way. That being said, probably another couple points off for how many feisty and bows were here because it was bows and then bows and then bows. So it is what it is. But yeah, overall for me, that's going to be a 14.
Okay. So I'm giving it a straight roll of 15. I thought it was really entertaining. I read it really quickly. It kept my attention. I think that one thing that happens when we read books for the podcast, we tend to be more critical than I would be if I was just like reading something for fun. I definitely agree. There was a lot of bows, some of which I didn't hate, but there were a lot of them. There were certainly repetitive aspects of the story with like the two timelines over overlaying each other. Um, and I could see how that would be a turnoff. But I do feel like it was kind of a refreshing way with the ghosts in particular to tell a mystery, a murder mystery kind of story. There were some highlights, the ghosts were really cool. Betty in particular, like you said, I appreciated um Viv's relationship with Betty, how there were moments, where she was listening, or they were both Carly and her were listening to what was being said, but I felt like there was sort of some teamwork happening in the 1982 storyline that was satisfying. And from like a feminist standpoint, I like that most of the characters were ladies and they were just getting it done. Um, And so I'm giving it a +2 for investigation, one for Carly and one for Viv, because nice and even. Yes, their investigations were very similar, but I think overall I liked the 1982 storyline better. I think that it just had more action and I mean that's when the real murders were being investigated. Like
Yeah.
that was the real thing. So that's a 17 overall.
Nice. So yeah, 17 and a 14, which means 15 and a half overall. So not bad. I think that kind of matches up with the good reads of it. So it seems like we're right on the nose with a lot of other people. And yeah, just something different. So if you're looking for something quick to read and like you kind of like that criminal,
A genre.
true crime kind
If
of
you're a true
also.
crime girly.
Yeah, exactly. With a little bit of mystical spice on top. That could be for you. So, one last time, the book was The Sun Down Motel by Simone St. James. You can find that everywhere and anywhere. So, check it out. And on that note, we move into segments as we're not quite done yet, even though we are done with the book. And we're going to start with one we don't usually use, but as I was editing the podcast, a thought came to me that I felt like I needed to share. So we were talking about on the last episode that book, Air by Sabatahir, and we were discussing how we didn't really love the end where Ais
I
managed to survive and also save Sero. And something that popped in my head because she loses her connection to the creature she believes is Mother Div. So many spoilers outside of spoilers for last episode. Deal with it, folks. Um, my thought was, what if that was actually the real Mother Div stepping in for her? And like we see her at other times where she prays to Mother Div, like especially when she falls from
You mean
the
her
top of that
saving
building at first.
her
Uh,
like living
save
and
her.
saving Sarah is the real
Yeah,
mother.
I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that was Mother Div kind of intervening and saving them
Ooh.
both and being like, your job's not done here, or you fucked up and I'm going to save you so you can fix it kind of
Whoa,
situation.
that's
So,
interesting.
still not willing to read the second book, but just
Um,
following my
I'm
shot
glad
if that
you
happens.
I'm glad you brought up Air though, because I've been like really needing to change my score. Well, I was just I'm in my little book, these two are like the pages are next to each other, and I'm looking at the score I just gave the Sundown Motel, and I'm like, I enjoyed that reading that book, I think, more. Like my takeaway, like I would recommend the Sundown Motel to more people than I would recommend Air, and they got the same score. And I was like, that's not accurate.
So, do you want to change your score retroactively?
Yeah, I want to give it a 13 straight roll.
Whoa, Taja.
I'm still giving it a +1 for religion, so it's a 14 overall.
Oh, mark
It
your
had to be
episodes.
lower than, like,
Mark your episodes, folks. 112, the first time we've ever gone back and changed a
are
score.
you sure? Because I feel like I've done this before.
I don't think you've ever gone back like the next episode. I don't know.
Okay, I don't
I don't
know.
know.
It just
Somebody
feels
should
like
listen to all the
maybe it's
episodes and
in
let
the
me know.
moment I've done it.
But yeah, folks. So, wow, what a dynamic segment that we often
Things
miss.
we forgot, yeah.
Oh, great. So, yeah, on that note, moving on. We have current selection, Tasha. What else have you been reading or listening to?
Well, not much. My current in progress book is still one of the Murderbot Diaries because I haven't picked it up since I've been fully Turkish mode.
Nice.
But I did listen to a book, but that's going to be my random recommendation.
All right, so we'll hold on to that, which means I will go. For me, I finished Britt Marie Was Here by Frederick Backman. My God, the tears at the end, of course. Just
Always.
so well done. It took me a little while longer to get into it because Britt Marie is such like
She's a bit of an irksome character.
yeah, she can be difficult to love.
Yeah.
And she's really trying to discover herself or rediscover herself after her marriage kind of ended
Falls
abruptly for her
apart.
there. So it's difficult and she can be a lot. So as I was reading that, I was like, okay, girly, okay. Um, then with the hockey tournament, I started reading the Sun Down Motel right away because I was like, I know I'm going to need some time because I didn't pick up a book or anything other than a beer for 4 days. Uh,
Hey.
but I started reading, and I like the last 2 days, I've just been running through it because it's so good. I don't have the author. The book is The Raven Scholar. Have you heard about this? You
No.
seen this? Have you heard about this? While I Google it, I'll try to fill in here. I saw this book on a lot of different things. It's one that I had like I always grab like screen caps of books and save it in case I need it later. And thankfully, I didn't pick this up because Amanda ended up buying it for me for Christmas. So it's The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. It is a beautiful cover. It is literally all over the sci-fi internets. Super interesting world building. In this world, they have an emperor for 24 years. And after that, they have eight different temples that are subscribed to the eight greater beings. Basically, they're all animals. Um, and each temple puts forth a champion that they then have 8 days of trials for. And whoever comes out with the most points from that becomes the next emperor or empress. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, so very like the world building, it just jumps you right in. Like you start off learning about these twins who are like the children of a failed usurper and like their life. So you're like, okay, we're gonna follow these folks, and then literally they're only in like 3 chapters, but they're like the setup to meet the Raven Scholar, who's our main character,
Oh,
Nima. And then it takes over, like it just fast forwards to 8 years as we're dealing with the fallout of that one situation that brought all our characters together.
wow.
So, yeah, I haven't been able to put it down. I was gonna hold on to it for a podcast book, but it's like 650, 700 pages. It's
Oh,
fantasy.
geez.
But it is like I am flying through it. I'm probably 370-ish pages already through it. So,
Not that the topic is at all similar, but that very much gives me the Red Rising vibes, like the world building and the speed and
yeah.
everything.
I keep looking to buy that, but I can't find it used. And I'm like, I know there's enough copies in the world.
There must be.
Like,
I want you to read it so bad. It's so good.
and the fact that it's still going, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's still
still writing.
going.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm like, ugh, it's the same thing as movies
Like
or whatever.
Calcade.
It's like I gotta wait for it to end before I jump into it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but I will report back on that next week, and probably soon it will be a random recommendation because, and
Nice.
again, I've seen it all over the internet, and I know why. A lot of people are huge on it. It is
Yeah.
also book one of at least a duology, but I think it's a series. So, but sometimes it is what it is. And on that note, we move into random recommendations. So, Tasha, tell us about this book that you read recently.
Okay, so it's called The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope, or Penelope, if you'd
Pinalo.
like. And the description is a woman able to communicate with spirits must assemble a ragtag crew to pull off a daring heist to save her community in this timely and dazzling historical fantasy that weaves together African American folk magic, history, and romance. So it's like the summer of 1925 in Washington, D.C. Um, and there's this woman Clara Johnson, who can see spirits, and um, it's a heist, and it's really cool. And it was, yeah, I listened to it, and it was really fun and very historically, I don't want to say historically accurate because it was about spirits and whatnot, but like the author's note at the end was really interesting. She said she read an article about this woman in the 1919 riots who shot a white policeman, and it was like the aftermath, like her trial, and then she ended up spending 2 years in jail, and then got out after a retrial where she could plead self-defense. And it um it was very cool because it was the 20s. That's kind of my jam.
Yeah.
It was fun with like the heist stuff, putting together a team and like getting shit done. Um, and then the spirits part of it was really cool, like the whole otherworldly aspect to it. Yeah, it was really fun and very on the nose with like today with Breonna Taylor and whatnot. And yeah, it was very well done and very fun. I would say quick read. I mean, quick listen. Yeah, definitely would recommend that.
Yeah, when you mentioned it, looking at the cover, it looked very beautiful as well. Like
Yeah.
I could see how that grabbed your attention. And again, yeah, being the 20s, that is just all of Tasha.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was really fun.
Nice. So again, that was The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope, or Pimelo, however you want to
Peanut.
say it. And on that note, we finish up with what is on the next episode. And this, folks, woof, is going to be random. As my bookstore was doing something special around Christmas where they were doing buy one, get one free on all used books. So I went extra deep
Went
into
hard.
the section and found some things that we're taking chances on. And this is one. So the book is The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang. Looks beautiful. That's what caught my eye. Anytime there's like a different color on the binding, I'm like, oh, what's that? The thing I'm going to pull from the back, it's an immersive, electrifying space fantasy. Neon Yang's debut novel is full of high-tech space battles and political machinations, starring a queer and diverse array of pilots, princesses, and prophetic heirs. So there was a blurb on here from Martha Wells, who wrote the Murderbot series, which also grabbed my attention. So we will get into that next episode and see what happens. I will say it does seem like when I'm taking risks, I always lean towards space operas.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like it reminds me of Alistair Reynolds.
Yeah.
Books I've read by them, and just a couple others as we were trying to figure out what to read. It like two of those were space. Two out of like four were space operas. So I don't know what that says about me, but we'll see what it says about that on the next episode. So that means this is the end of this episode. So quick one for you guys. Thanks for hanging in there, and thanks for noticing our different wardrobe as we try to spice it up for you YouTubers. And on that note, this has been the 112th episode of the ABC Pod, the Adult Book Club.
Keep
Tasha and
reading.
Russell. Always have everything later. So this has been the 112th episode of the ABC Pod, the Adult Book Club with Tasha and Russell.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Keep reading.